Hello, good people. Welcome once again to this edition of This is Grace. And today we will be talking to Dr. Pedus. He is the chairperson of the Nigerian Association of Western Australia. And we just want to thank you so much for joining us today. And we want to handle some negative perceptions about Africans, and to be specific, the Nigerians everywhere in the world, not just in Australia. We know you took time off work, so thank you so much for that. We really are grateful.
Thank you.
So Dr. Pedus, just for introduction purposes, tell us about yourself and what you do for a living.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Grace. My name is Dr. Pedus Eweyama. I'm a medical practitioner based at Royal Perth Hospital here in Western Australia, in Perth. I was born in Nigeria, and I grew up in Nigeria, went to secondary school in Nigeria, and started university in Nigeria. Actually started studying medicine at the University of Benin in Edo State, Nigeria. Shortly after my second year, I moved to the United States, where I went on to study a Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Arts, and also finished a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing. So I started practicing as a nurse in the US until 16 years ago, when I moved over to Australia, particularly Western Australia, and did a master's in occupational health and safety here in Western Australia, and eventually decided to go to medical school and studied medicine as well. So I worked as a nurse for a very long time, and was a senior nurse, and until I decided that I had to complete what I studied at the University of Benin many years prior.
Wow, that's a great journey, from a registered nurse to a practicing medical doctor.
That's correct.
That's a great journey.
Yeah.
So just to delve more into your community and the kind of work that you do, please give us a statistical overview of how many Nigerians are here in WA, or probably Australia-wide, and your kind of economic input into this economy.
Yeah. It is estimated that there are about 2,000 or probably about 2,500 Nigerians living in Western Australia, and across Australia about 12 to 15,000 Nigerians living across the length and breadth of Australia. And we're very diverse. We obviously come from various ethnic identities, but the majority we see here in Australia will be the Igbos and the Yorubas, and some of the people from the Niger Delta region. Here we have very few houses here, talking of the major ethnic groups, the Igbo, the Hausa, and the Yorubas.
So your community is the umbrella body for those other, the Igbo community, the Yoruba community. You're the apex body of those other communities, so you still represent them.
That is correct. We're the NAWA, Nigerian Association of Western Australia, is the apex body for all Nigerians living in Western Australia. However, within the body, we have ethnic associations, like the Igbo Association of Western Australia, which I was the former chairperson as well. We have the Yoruba Society of Western Australia, and we have the Edo Nigerian Association of Western Australia. So we actually formally have 3 ethnic associations under the umbrella of NAWA here in Western Australia.
Okay, so just to delve into what kind of programs your community provides, would you be able to give us what kind of activities or what kind of programs, if someone wants to access any help in your community, what do you offer? Yeah,
we here in Nawa, we obviously represent the very interests of Nigerians, whether you're Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, wherever ethnic group you identify with. In areas that require liaison with the government, for instance, if there is a Nigerian in trouble and they want to speak to the leader of Nigerians here, they will call upon me. The government will call upon me. If a Nigerian, for instance, wants to travel and they require documents, like the passport. Our Nigerian High Commission is in Canberra. It's quite far away. So once every year, we organize the High Commission to come down here to organize a passport exercise that benefits all Nigerians. And usually we have very large turnouts of Nigerians coming to renew their passports. If there are Australians who require visa to go to Nigeria, oftentimes they call us to liaise with the embassy, especially if they're going for business that will benefit our country. People also contact us as reference point, those who are in academics researching about Nigeria or researching about opportunities in Nigeria, tourism, business opportunities. And people have actually called me, wanting to send money to Nigeria. And in that case, I have to counsel them, make sure you're sending to legitimate individuals. So we serve those purposes. And we also work very closely with our youth wing in terms of providing services to the youth, that are probably very unique to the youth population. We do a youth summit once every year, where we bring the young people together, get our very successful Nigerians to speak to them. We have a structured program where they mingle very informally, and they get to hear from a lot of Nigerians who have succeeded in this country on their journey, their challenges and their opportunities.
Perfect. Okay, so what is the future for the women in your community? What does it look like?
Yeah. Unlike the perception of the West that African women are very subservient, Nigerian women are actually quite aspirational. And we have a lot of our wives here who have masters, PhDs, a lot of registered nurses. They're very career-minded, and we're very supportive of them. We're supportive of our women pursuing different areas of interest. We're not very paternalistic, contrary to a lot of negative perceptions that we're very controlling of our women or we abuse our women. I mean, I think abuse is everywhere, wherever you go. But Nigerian men, as far as I know, within Western Australia, are very supportive of our women pursuing their different career goals.
Okay, so speaking of negative perceptions, some non-Africans have this perception all over the world, not only in Australia, that Nigerians are scammers. They will con you of money, they are behind the computers, cyber scammers, financial manipulators. Do you think that's true? Does it happen?
I mean, the truth is that there are scammers everywhere. There are scammers in the United States, there are scammers in Canada, in Australia, New Zealand, in the Asian Pacific countries. There are scammers everywhere. I think the fact that somebody has been scammed of money from Nigeria doesn't generalize all Nigerians as criminals or as cyber criminals. Here in Western Australia, we have close to 100 Nigerian doctors working here in different fields of medicine, contributing to this economy. In fact, it is estimated that Nigerians contribute between 15 and 20 million into Western Australia's economy. We have Nigerians who are surveyors, Nigerians who are working in the mines as engineers, as nurses in hospitals. So we have a lot of Nigerians doing a lot of good stuff. These so-called scammers are between 0.01 and 0.05 of 200 million people in terms of our population. So that's very minuscule, that's very small in terms of Nigeria's population. So I think for us as Nigerians, as NAWA, we look at the big picture. We look at the Nigerians who are working at NASA in the United States. We look at Nigerians who are working in academics here in Australia, in the United States and all over the world. Doctors contributing to the healthcare of our people, here in Western Australia, and Australian people as well. People see me and they say, oh, you're from Nigeria. My GP is a Nigerian. Oh, you're a Nigerian. My specialist is a Nigerian. Those are the things we focus on. We don't focus on all the negative perception. We always look forward to encouraging our people to progressing. We don't look backwards on the negative perceptions of those who are scamming people. There are scammers everywhere you go. And I always say to Australians and the West, focus on the good things that come out of Nigeria. The richest man in Africa, Aliko Dangote, is a Nigerian. We have a lot of Nigerians doing a lot of good stuff. One of the guys behind the internet that we use every day, Professor Eme Agwale, is a Nigerian. He's an Igbo person. So there are a lot of Nigerians doing good stuff wherever you go. So we focus on the positive, not on the negative. So we do tell people that, look, there are scammers in Nigeria, but there are scammers everywhere in the world.
Well, that's like a very big statement you've made out there, and that's great advocacy for your community. Bearing that in mind, what does the future look like for your community? Because it surely looks bright.
Yeah, definitely.
So are you looking at continuing to migrate more, or are you looking at building a more economic front?
Yeah. At now, what we've done over the last 1 year that I've been at the helm is to re-strategize and modernize NAWA, make NAWA a more contemporary organization that bears in mind the realities of the future to build our capacity. So in doing that, we have a very formidable youth group, the NAWA Youth Wing, and under the able leadership of Mr. Emmanuel Onyebuna, who is a very dynamic youth leader. We have a lot of programs in place, including Youth Summit. The first one was held last year. We have other ones coming up next year that would involve a lot of young people from Nigerian background, making them understand that there are people who have succeeded here in Western Australia, that they could also come here and succeed, whether they've come as students and decided to live in Western Australia, or they were born in Australia. There are people to look up to. We normally bring our very successful Nigerians to these sort of events to talk to our young people about the challenges and opportunities in Nigeria, what they've gone through and where they are, and that has really been well received by young people. Most of them are looking forward to having the Youth Summit coming up February next year. We had one early this year, so the next one will be next year. So we always encourage Nigerians to always remember to where they come from. That it's important to appreciate your background, your ethnic identity, and not to forget home. However, because we live here, we also have to create a space for ourselves in this place, by encouraging our people to strive for excellence, to dispel a lot of the negative perceptions of Nigerians and indeed African people here, by striving in whatever they do, whether you are in medical profession, whether you're a geologist working in the mine, an engineer working in the mine, or you're a professor in academics. We want our people the young people particularly, to grow and aspire and look forward to being the best they can be here in Western Australia.
Yes. Well, you have heard it from the leader himself. Nigerians are not scammers. They have the biggest outfit of scholars, geologists, UFC fighters. I think nowadays they are coming up with more Nigerians who are fighting in the UFC and making lot of money from that.
Correct.
And, we just wanted to break down that barrier, that sort of negative stereotype that people have about Nigerians. They are actually good people, entrepreneurs, scholars, professors. Well, if you're Nigerian and you are here in WA and you are a young person, we would encourage you to visit the nearest NAWA office and learn more about the programs that are available for you to build your future and to continue providing a great input to this economy. This is Grace, and it's been great to chat with you. We hope to have you next time on a bigger platform.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Grace. And I want to chip in that if you're Nigerian and you're watching this, please go to www.nawa.com.au, and you will learn more about the youth programs and other programs that we have lined up for the year and our strategic plan looking forward to the future.